is a, quote, weapon of war in the conflict. We're in the region with the latest. Plus.
So, Mother, this is my open apology to you and to my family. I know everything you ever wanted from me was to be the best version of myself. So I ask you, Mama, how did I do?
It's a first-of-its-kind education program with more than a dozen incarcerated individuals graduating from a top 10 university for the first time. In tonight's Prime Focus, we're in Chicago seeing a second chance being given in real time. And
I think I won the genetic lottery or something. And I drink the blood of Rob Lowe and Lori Loughlin.
He's been known as Uncle Jesse for more than 30 years. Now, John Stamos is speaking his truth about the highs and lows of his prolific career. And good evening, I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more, including the growing ceasefire movement around the world as pressure builds for superpowers like the U.S. to call for an end to the Israel-Hamas war. Plus, the latest development on the health of former First Lady Rosalind Carter. And shoppers have 1 week to go until the biggest shopping day of the year. We're going to take a look at what they can expect and how much we are anticipated to spend when we take a look at Black Friday by the numbers. Our correspondents are fanned out across the country, covering those stories and more for us tonight. But we begin with the unrelenting Israel-Hamas war and growing pressure to secure the release of the more than 200 hostages. Israel burying 19-year-old Army Colonel Noah Marciano today. She was the second hostage found dead in a building near Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa. Later today, we learned that Israel will now allow 2 fuel trucks per day into Gaza, which will be a major boost in the efforts to get clean water to residents and should restore cell phone service and power, at least to some places. But the relentless attacks have forced Gazans from their homes. This satellite image showing hundreds walking out of the devastation in northern Gaza, heading south, where Israel says it is safer. There was an airstrike in central Gaza today by Israel, killed 41 people, with dozens remaining buried under that rubble. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman leads us off once again from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, the Israeli military continuing its relentless assault on northern Gaza, blowing up what they say was a weapons production plant of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And Hamas releasing its own video. Fighters targeting Israeli forces with rocket-propelled grenades, sniper teams firing from bombed-out buildings. The Hamas-run health ministry saying the death toll in Gaza has now surpassed 12,000. And Israel today confirming the bodies of 2 dead hostages were found near Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital in recent days. 19-year-old Noah Marciano, a corporal in the Israeli army, was buried today. It comes a day after Israel discovered the body of 65-year-old Yehudit Weiss, both found in the street across from the hospital, officials say. Hamas also releasing video of 86-year-old hostage Arya Zelmanovich, his family asking the media not to show it. Israeli troops are excavating what they say is a tunnel entrance near Al-Shifa hospital, searching the grounds for a 3rd day.
The extent of the tunnel network is being exposed. We're seeing blast doors at the end of the tunnel, so it's obviously a terror tunnel.
After 42 days of fighting, much of northern Gaza has been laid to waste. This satellite image showing huge numbers of people trying to flee south. The few hospitals still in operation, overwhelmed. So many injured, including these children, there's no place to put them but the floor. One wrapped head to toe in gauze. This boy, his face bloodied, saying, "My parents don't know I'm here. I want to sleep, and I'm cold. I can't stand. I just want to go home." Despite the catastrophic damage in Gaza, Hamas still able to lob rockets into Tel Aviv. Most of tonight's barrage intercepted, and in Israel, pressure for a hostage deal mounting.
The families of the hostages. This is part of their 5-day march from Tel Aviv. What they're saying is free everybody, all of the hostages, now.
But that's looking increasingly unlikely. Israel's national security advisor tonight saying there will not be a ceasefire without a, quote, massive repatriation of hostages.
And Matt joins us from Israel again tonight. Matt, there is substantial pressure you've been reporting to get these hostages released. I understand there's a debate within the Israeli government over what that deal should even look like. Can you break that down for us?
Phil, the current deal on the table would see about 50 Israeli hostages and foreigners released women and children, in exchange for a 3-day ceasefire for Hamas. But that division inside the Israeli Security Cabinet that you just mentioned, we understand, may be holding things up. There's a group of ministers who are pushing to accept the deal as it is right now. Another portion is advocating for a much larger deal that would include all of the women and the children and their family members, including males. Phil.
All right, Matt Gutman from Israel for us tonight. Matt, thank you. And tonight, there are voices inside Israel calling for peace. The co-founder of Women Wage Peace, Vivian Silver, was presumed kidnapped until her remains were found at her home in Kibbutz Be'eri recently. A memorial service for her was held yesterday. Joining me now is co-director of Women Wage Peace, Dr. Yael Brado-Bahat. Doctor, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Our thoughts are with you. We can't imagine what this time has been like for you, but we do appreciate you joining us tonight. The organization has been around for about a decade now. Talk to us about the mission.
Women Wage Peace was established 9 years ago by Vivian Silver and other courageous women who decided that enough is enough. This long-lasting conflict, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, needs to end with a political solution, political resolution, because we cannot go on living from one round to another, and we demand the participation of women in the negotiation throughout the entire process.
And your organization is calling for, what, a humanitarian pause or humanitarian ceasefire to be able to get the hostages out?
Absolutely. The first thing that needs to be done currently is release all hostages, and of course, taking care and protect the civilians on both sides.
Israel was attacked, of course, as you know, on October 7th, and it was the single-day biggest death toll, loss of life for Jews really since the Holocaust. It was staggering. Over 1,200 Israelis dead. In the days that followed, 12,000 people have died as Israel goes into Gaza, including many women and children. Do you think the Israeli government has crossed any line here? There are a lot of calls for a ceasefire, period, a humanitarian ceasefire, not just for the hostages to be released, but for Israel to stop its assault on Gaza. Does your organization go that far?
No, we don't say anything. We don't say anything strategic. We just say release all hostages, make everything, do everything. The government needs to do everything it can to release the hostages and protect the civilians on both sides. We don't want any more injuries, and we don't want any more victims on either side. We just want the war to end, the hostages to be released, and the safety and security of Israelis and Palestinians to be achieved. And we know that this can be achieved only by a political solution.
Well, I was really struck by this on October.
Just to say, we know it's not going to be within a day or two. It's going to be long, it's going to be hard, but it needs to begin, because for 2 decades, at least 2 decades, the south of Israel, specifically the settlement around the Gaza border, are being attacked constantly, and the conflict is being managed. And we say for 9 years now that the conflict cannot be managed anymore. It needs to be resolved. And we received the proof on the 7th of October that the conception of managing the conflict has collapsed. It needs to be resolved.
And just 3 days before that, on October 4th, 1,500 Israeli and Palestinian women participated in a rally calling for peace. Are you still able to have any kind of dialogue with the Palestinian organization at that rally? It's called Women of the Sun. And that was just 3 days before this attack. What has gone on? Any communication since?
Of course, since the beginning of the war, since the first day of the war, they contacted us. They were very worried about us. They were very worried about Vivian and the other Women Wage Peace activists and members living near the Gaza border. They were calling us. They were asking if we're okay. And we are in contact and in touch since then. And we continue working together, because for us, what happened just reassures that our mission is important and it's crucial. And for us, it just became even more urgent. So absolutely, we plan to continue together. We have a huge project that was supposed to begin on October 1st, and was supposed to be launched by us on October 8th. And we continue to plan it and build it together.
Your organization, the Palestinian organization you're talking about, I'm some familiarity with Seeds of Peace. There are so many different, and that's for kids to get together, Palestinian and Israeli children to get together so that they can understand that they're, just like each other. So many people have tried desperately for peace in this region. You are continuing to do it. Are you optimistic? Do you see a day where all the fighting will stop?
I don't know when this day is going to come, but I know it will come because other conflicts all over the world, harsh conflicts, bloody conflicts, were resolved when women from both sides of the conflict united and demanded its resolution. Things happen in Northern Ireland, in Liberia, in Colombia, and we insist that this is possible also in this region. There is no reason that it won't happen. There are enough moderate forces in this region and in the world to support and facilitate this. We just need courageous leaders to sit down and begin negotiations because we deserve it. Us, the mothers, the fathers, the children, the next generations, we won't be able to live here in this region fighting all the time.
Yeah, and as you point out, the situation is just completely untenable as it stands now. Dr. Yael Brada-Bahat, thank you so much. And again, our thoughts and our prayers to Vivian and her entire family.
Thank you so much.
On to other news tonight, a deadly shooting at a psychiatric hospital in New Hampshire. An armed man walking up to a security guard, wounding him, that guard returning fire. Here's ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky.
Tonight, shots fired outside a New Hampshire hospital.
Shots fired at the state hospital.
Multiple law enforcement agencies responding to the state's psychiatric hospital in the capital, Concord. Officers securing the building, telling the public to avoid the area after reports of an active shooter.
They have one security guard who is wounded.
Authorities say in the hospital's front lobby, a man shot and wounded a security guard before a state trooper fired back.
The shooter is down right now. He is on the ground.
The gunman killed on scene.
The scene remains active as one suspicious vehicle has been located. The suspect in this situation is deceased.
And Aaron joins me now. Aaron, do we know much more about this gunman who was killed?
Not yet. They are looking at a car associated with the shooter. We'll see if there's any clues there. But the shooting itself was contained to the hospital's front lobby. There are no additional victims that we know of. And Phil, all the patients are safe. Phil.
All right, Aaron Katersky tonight. Aaron, thank you. Also tonight, ABC News is learning that former First Lady Rosalynn Carter has entered hospice care at her home in Plains, Georgia. This comes 6 months after the Carter Center announced that Mrs. Carter, who is 96, is suffering from dementia. Her husband, former President Jimmy Carter, who is 99, has been receiving at-home hospice care since February. They are said to be spending time with each other and with their family, and of course, we wish them both well. The suspect in the kidnapping of a 9-year-old girl from a New York State campsite is now facing 9 charges, including 6 counts of sexual assault. Craig Ross is accused of abducting the little girl, last seen on her bicycle while camping with her family. He has pleaded not guilty. Stephanie Ramos with the details.
Shackled and shuffling, the man accused of abducting a 9-year-old girl from an upstate New York park and holding her captive for 2 days, appearing before a judge for the first time.
Guilty or not guilty? Not guilty.
46-year-old Craig Ross Jr. pleading not guilty to all charges, including rape and kidnapping. Ross's appearance a stark contrast to that arrest photo taken after police swooped in and rescued the 9-year-old girl from a small bedroom closet in a camper on Ross's mother's property. State police telling us the little girl was relieved to see them.
Was she emotional?
She was very emotional.
The 9-year-old vanished while riding her bike alone during a family camping trip in late September, sparking a massive manhunt with hundreds of law enforcement and volunteers searching. Police zeroed in on Ross after matching the fingerprint from a ransom note left at the girl's home to Ross's fingerprint from a previous arrest. Prosecutors today said they have one goal:
to hold this defendant, who's committed a heinous, terrible offense against a tender-aged victim. We will hold him accountable and responsible.
The judge ordered Craig Ross to be held without bail. He'll be back in court next month, and his trial is scheduled for the spring. Phil.
Stephanie, thank you. Caitlin Armstrong has been sentenced to 90 years for the murder of professional cyclist Anna Mo Wilson. The jury deliberated for several hours today before reaching the sentencing decision, which also includes a $10,000 fine. On Thursday, the jury found Armstrong guilty of first-degree murder after deliberating for less than 3 hours. Wilson was 25 and a rising gravel racer. She was found suffering from multiple gunshot wounds at a friend's home in Austin, Texas in May of 2022. Tonight, millions of Americans are bracing for a cross-country storm that could impact Thanksgiving travel plans. ABC's senior meteorologist Rob Marciano is tracking it for us. Rob.
Hey, Phil, after a quiet couple of weeks, relatively speaking, weather pattern getting more active. It's pretty much bad timing as we head towards that very busy holiday travel week. All right, the storm that's been kind of lumbering off the coast of California, it's still there, but it's pressing more rain into northern and central California and kind of links up with a front that brings it across the Rockies during the day tomorrow and into Sunday afternoon. Severe weather threat into the plains, Oklahoma City to Dallas, and then Lake Charles, Shreveport into parts of Mississippi, including Jackson during the day on Monday. And then the rainfall is going to stretch its way up across the Ohio River Valley into the northeast. Winds gusting over 40 miles an hour on Wednesday. Could see flooding rains across I-95. That's not good if you're traveling by car or certainly by air. There will be some delays, if not cancellations, on that very busy travel day. It does clear for Thanksgiving Day, but look at some of these numbers. Wind chills will be in the single digits and teens across much of the northern tier. It will be cold and blustery, feeling more like maybe Christmas than Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's a chilly Thanksgiving. All right, Rob, thanks so much. A record-breaking Thanksgiving travel season is already underway. The airline's expecting nearly 30 million passengers in the next 12 days alone. AAA predicting nearly 50 million people will drive. And because more people are working flexible schedules, peak travel time could stretch for days. Here's ABC transportation correspondent Gio Benitez.
Tonight, the start of what's expected to be the busiest holiday travel season ever. United says it'll fly 3,900 flights per day. That's 3 flights per minute. Delta is expecting to fly up to 6.4 million customers. American, 7.8 million. The busiest day to leave, Wednesday.
With more people having flexible work schedules in a post-pandemic world, that Monday and Tuesday are going to be busy as well.
In Denver, this Southwest flight had to abort its landing this morning in the midst of heavy fog. Travelers in Philly today hoping for smooth sailing.
Hopefully all the flights stay on time and we don't get weather, right?
With AAA predicting more than 49 million hitting the roads. One bright spot for drivers, gas prices. The national average at $3.30 a gallon. That's about 40 cents less than last year. In Los Angeles, where a massive fire under Interstate 10 badly damaged the crucial transportation artery, crews racing to complete repairs. Officials say all 5 lanes in each direction will reopen by Tuesday.
And Gio joins us now. Gio, for those who are focused on shopping this holiday travel season, what are the best days for folks to actually travel?
Well, Phil, let's put it this way. Just about any day between now and Thanksgiving is going to be busy. The worst times to travel are Tuesday and Wednesday, so I want you to avoid that. So the best times to travel will be anything outside of Tuesday and Wednesday. And then when you're coming back, avoid that Sunday if you can when going home, because that's going to be very busy as well.
Great advice. Sometimes knowing the worst day is best. All right, Gio, thanks so much. The fallout over George Santos continues tonight on Capitol Hill. Now some of his fellow GOP members are trying to oust him again. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has the details. Elizabeth.
Hey, Phil. Well, embattled Republican Congressman George Santos from New York is now facing the possibility that he will be kicked out of Congress. The chairman of the House Ethics Committee today introduced a resolution to expel George Santos. A vote on this resolution likely won't come until after Thanksgiving because the House is now out for the Thanksgiving holiday. But this appears to show that a growing number of Santos's Republican colleagues are backing the idea that he should be ousted after that blistering report from the House Ethics Committee. That report showed that Santos allegedly used thousands of dollars in campaign funds for Botox treatments at designer stores like Ferragamo, for trips to Atlantic City. The report found he even paid his own rent with the funds and used some of the money on the website OnlyFans, which is known for its adult content. Now, a source tells ABC News that Santos's communications director resigned today in the wake of that scathing report. Santos has called it a political smear, but he did admit that he no longer plans to run for re-election. The expulsion vote could ultimately have consequences for the balance of power in the House. We know that Republicans already have a very slim majority in the chamber. Phil.
All right, Elizabeth Schulze, thank you. And there's still much more to get to here on Prime. Coming up, from flipping burgers to flipping that iconic hair, John Stamos sits down to talk about his new memoir. But next, from high crimes to high ed, we talk with inmates who are trying to push forward while behind bars.
I've been incarcerated 42 years, and to have a program like this gave me hope. There's something better than just sitting idly in a cell.
Whenever news breaks.
The crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas, ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward,
With some fun in between.
a real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning
America's #1 early morning news.
on ABC News Live.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
Welcome back. It is the 9th best university in the country, a school that is likely at arm's length for much of the country, let alone for those serving time. But now, for the first time, more than a dozen current inmates at a maximum security prison can call themselves alumni from Northwestern University. They're all part of the first of its kind program, opening the doors to some of the country's most prestigious universities and giving incarcerated individuals the chance at an education and hopefully a second chance overall. ABC's Alex Perez has the story for us tonight.
There's pomp, circumstance, and a lot of emotion.
We now invite the graduates to the stage to receive their diplomas.
Robert Boyd.
This historic group ready to receive that all-important degree and begin a new stage in their lives.
And I welcome you to the Fellowship of Scholars.
Cheers and applause from friends and loved ones, speeches highlighting their accomplishments, and hope for a brighter future.
I think I can very safely say that I will never in my life address a class as decorated as this.
But this college graduation is unlike most. This auditorium is in a prison, and these students are maximum security inmates at Stateville Correctional Center outside Chicago.
Our students made history as the first incarcerated students in the United States to graduate from a top 10 university.
The result of Northwestern University's prison education program. The inaugural class has 16 students, several serving life sentences, with their loved ones in the audience.
So, Mother, this is my open apology to you and to my family. I know everything you ever wanted from me was to be the best version of myself. So I asked you, Mama, how did I do?
A lengthy sentence is not a deterrent to crime. I am the crime deterrent.
I don't feel no waste time. I've been incarcerated 42 years, and to have a program like this gave me hope. There's something better than just sitting idly in a cell.
Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you.
Graduate James Soto convicted of murder. He maintains his innocence and recently learned he would be made eligible for parole after more than 4 decades at Stateville.
It's a place that will suck the hope out of you. It sucks away your very essence as a human being. It dehumanizes you. And by having education, it's gave me back my sense of humanity.
Research shows prison education programs make a difference. Rearrests after release are frequent. One Department of Justice study found that about 68% of inmates released from state prisons were rearrested within 3 years. But a 2018 study in the Journal of Experimental Criminology found prisoners who enroll in post-secondary education programs are 48% less likely to be reincarcerated than prisoners who don't. The study also found getting an education while incarcerated increases the chances of getting a job after release by 12%. But although college programs for inmates were once on the rise, there's been a decline in recent decades, making it something many inmates can't access.
If they're here for something that they actually did, it was usually when they were teenagers, you know, like early 20s. I mean, they are completely different people 2 decades later. And I think that, you know, time and time again, we've seen that, you know, like punitive approaches to crime, it doesn't work. I mean, incarceration doesn't work. But programs like ours do.
Professor Jennifer Lackey, director of the Northwestern Prison Education Program, works closely with each incarcerated student.
Okay, I said I wasn't going to cry. We will forever include you among our most cherished alumni as you continue to put your brilliance and your beauty in service of living with the outside beyond the walls.
Delivering the commencement address, renowned author and journalist Ta-Nehisi Coates.
When I got the invitation to come here and to address you, wild horses couldn't have stopped me.
What did it mean to you to see and hear and learn from this graduating class?
Well, I think what you said about learning from them is really, really important. I was deeply, deeply inspired. I teach kids who struggle to get to class, you know what I mean, in the morning, and to see these guys struggling with what, you know, they had to struggle with and still manage to get, you know, an education for a prestigious university. It's a big deal.
As I prepare to enter society in a few months, this is one of the most memorable moments that I'm going to be proud to write in my story.
After 22 years behind bars, graduate Bernard McKinley was recently paroled and will soon rejoin society. Top of his list once released, helping to stop the cycle of incarceration.
When you send young black and brown bodies to prison uneducated and throw them back into society uneducated, it does nothing but perpetuate the systemic racism as well as the prison recidivism rate that everyone loves to speak about.
McKinley is also the first incarcerated candidate in Illinois to take the LSAT. With his bachelor's degree now in hand, his next goal, law school.
What does that piece of paper that you got today mean to you?
That piece of paper only solidified what I already knew about myself. That piece of paper told the rest of society and the world that I know what I'm capable of, and this is my potential. So that piece of paper is only the beginning of what I plan to do.
Our thanks to Alex Perez. And for more on the state of education in America, you can tune in to our ABC News Live special, The American Classroom, tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then later on Hulu. There is still much more to get to here on Prime. Shakira took the stage at the first Latin Grammys ever held in Spain. We're going to tell you how many trophies she took home. Plus, for the first time ever, Formula One racing is coming to the Vegas Strip this weekend. And we're going to bring you the Black Friday shopping mania by the numbers.
much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital.
Destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7, straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
Please, stop right there. Turn around. Stop. Stop. Hey. Everybody was scared that you were showing up to Laredo. Something was wrong, and bodies were being found all over the place. We may have a serial killer on our hands.
Tonight, 2020 takes you inside a killing spree.
It's a real-life thriller playing out on police cams.
It was shocking.
Mind-boggling. Help me.
The one that got out.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
David Muir, Deborah Roberts, the all-new 2020, tonight on ABC.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
When the announcer calls my name, the world almost fades away.
It's the biggest, it's the most famous dog event there is.
Welcome to Crufts, the world's greatest dog show.
The competition in dog dancing is very stiff.
Here, every dog has its day on the dance floor.
Dancing with my dog is the closest thing to magic.
Our winner of Crufts 2023.
The Secret Life of Dancing Dogs, now streaming on Hulu.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel, from the front lines.
In downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC News Live.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. Black Friday is just 1 week away now, and tonight we have a look at the sale season consumers and retailers have come to rely on by the numbers. 41% of shoppers report they'll likely shop Black Friday, and 61% of shoppers say they'll probably take advantage of Cyber Monday in a Shopify Gallup poll. 64% of shoppers say Black Friday and Cyber Monday are about more than just gifts. They plan to buy items for themselves or their households. And 34% say they'll stock up on basics like cleaning supplies and baby products to use in the coming year. Holiday gifts are still, though, the biggest focus, with 86% of shoppers planning to buy for those on their list. Sales are more popular with younger shoppers, online sales anyway. 71% of the under 50s said they will shop the sales, compared to 55% of over 50s. And just 9% of those 65 and older. And in between Friday and Monday, 36% said they will shop at a small business on Small Business Saturday. Hopefully you've made your list and checked it twice, whether you're hitting the mall or the web. The season is, in fact, upon us. There's much more ahead here on Prime. Who were the big winners at the Latin Grammys last night? We're going to let you know. And ABC News sits down with one of America's favorite uncles to discuss his new memoir. He tells us about the moment he hit rock bottom. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
Whenever news breaks,
The crush of families here in Poland.
Here in Kentucky, no match for the tornado.
From Monterey Park, California, on the ground in Ukraine.
Reporting from Uvalde, Texas.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
From Kathmandu, Nepal.
Truckee, California, covering record snowfall.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
Here at this airport in Tampa, it's already shut down.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Reporting from Jerusalem.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody in that home is okay.
To catch you up with what happened overnight. We are here at fashion's biggest night out.
What's happening today? YouTube has unveiled a new set of policies.
What people are talking about. The new ad campaign.
Fast, straightforward.
With some fun in between.
A real-life Barbie dream house.
A name change for the Wienermobile.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
This is ABC News Live.
The crush of families here in Poland.
At refugee centers.
In Putin's Russia.
On the ground in Ukraine.
Close to the front line.
From the capital, destructive Cat 4 storm.
You're along I-5.
Boston is in the bullseye.
Let's go.
ABC News Live. America's #1 streaming news. Anytime, anywhere. Streaming 24/7. Straight to you for free.
Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
When I got sent to Idaho to cover the murders of 4 college students, it was a story that didn't make any sense. 4 students stabbed to death in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
I'm Kana Whitworth with ABC News. This is the story of savage murders, a determined small-town police force, and a scholar of crime. This is the King Road Killings. The full series is out now. Listen to every episode wherever you get your podcasts.
Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's do it.
Yes, it's the show America wants and America needs right now.
This is What Would You Do? Let's go. How are you? Yes.
So what will you be watching Saturdays on ABC News Live?
What would you do?
Hey, I guess I just found out.
The What Would You Do Marathon, 2 to 6 Eastern, every Saturday on ABC News Live.
My favorite show.
It was a big night at the Latin Grammys for Colombian artists Shakira and Karol G. A 90s icon loses his son to drugs, and a hit-and-run suspect is found in a porta potty. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
For the first time ever, the Latin Grammys were held outside the United States in sunny Sevilla, Spain. Karol G took home Album of the Year, while Shakira won Song of the Year for her collaboration with Bizarrap. The change in location from the award ceremony's usual Las Vegas venue is the result of a deal struck between the Spanish region of Andalusia and the Latin Recording Academy, the latter saying that it'll promote music programming in the region for the next 3 years, according to terms of the agreement. IBM announced that they are pausing ad spending on X after a report showed their ads were appearing next to pro-Nazi content on the platform. The advocacy group Media Matters also found ads from Apple, Oracle, and Comcast were placed next to anti-Semitic content. IBM says they have zero tolerance for hate speech and has suspended all advertising until they complete an investigation. The head of X said in a post that there's no place for discrimination on the platform. A section of Los Angeles' 10 freeway damaged by a massive fire last weekend will be reopened by Tuesday. Governor Gavin Newsom credited the hundreds working round the clock on repairs. Officials say the safety inspections were better than expected. The fire damaged about 100 support columns on the elevated freeway last Saturday. Officials say the fire was set on purpose and have yet to name any suspected arsonist.
The son of comedian Dana Carvey has died. He was 32. Dex Carvey was also a comedian and actor with credits including the movie Joe Dirt 2. His father, Dana Carvey, posting on Instagram that his son died this week of an accidental overdose. Carvey and his wife Paula said Dex made everything fun and that they will miss him forever. An Amtrak train in Michigan derailed after hitting a stranded car on the tracks. That train, carrying about 220 passengers at the time, 11 suffered minor injuries from the collision. Officials say a tow truck was attempting to tow the car from the tracks as the train collided with the car. The train stayed upright after it veered off the tracks. Crews working to clean the scene. Amtrak says it's suspending 2 Chicago-bound trains in the meantime. Wisconsin police were assisted by some nearby golfers while chasing a suspect involved in a hit and run. 4 people fled the scene of a crash on a highway, running to a nearby golf course. Golfers on the 3rd hole saw one of them trying to hide in a porta potty and tipped it over, trapping the suspect inside. Officers then surrounded the porta potty with guns drawn as the suspect surrendered. Police arrested 2 of the 4 suspects that escaped the scene.
Now another look tonight at the American classroom. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we work, the way we live, the way we study. ABC News' DeMarco Morgan is taking a look at how students and teachers are using AI in new ways, both in and out of the classroom.
And then if it's wrong, it'll tell you that's wrong, but in a nice way. It was correct.
Oh, it was correct?
Yes.
Boom, okay, it's working for me.
6th grade student Amy Peralta has been using artificial intelligence in schools since last year. At Newark's First Avenue Elementary, students and teachers are now using Conmigo, an AI guide that is a tutor for students and an assistant for teachers that looks like a chat box. Conmigo is powered by ChatGPT-4 and is integrated into Khan Academy, an education platform.
You know, something else that you mentioned that was so cool to me and very kind to hear was when you said it responds in a nice way.
I feel like a positive attitude could help somebody a lot, especially when they're frustrated on doing something.
Some generative AI tools lack guardrails, raising privacy concerns. Khan Academy says it complies with federal and state privacy regulations and that Conmigo user data is protected. Conmigo is currently a pilot program. This year, more than 28,000 students and teachers are trying it out in more than 30 school districts across the country.
It doesn't give them the answer. So if they ask a question, it will tell them the how and the why, but not the result.
5th grade math teacher Anna Saran says that the AI program has been positive, helping her students build confidence and critical thinking skills, while also helping her stay prepared.
It raises the level of being independent in the classroom. It helps me prepare for lessons. I use it to find strategies that I can implement in the classroom. It has so many possibilities for the teachers as well as the students.
And it seems to me that it puts kids on an equal playing field, regardless of your financial background, your family background, where you live.
Exactly. This levels that platform for them. It gives them the opportunity to research and find the knowledge that they're seeking. Before we started using AI, we had a couple of days where we discussed what AI was and the fact that anything that you type, you're held accountable for. I can see their conversations. I can look back on their history, on their chat, and see if it's appropriate.
You guys started?
But we are. Timothy Neligar and Alan Yusharenko made the push to have Conmigo implemented into the school. They believe educating students, parents, and teachers about new technology like AI will help them succeed outside the classroom.
We felt it was really important to do digital citizenship with our teachers and our students, make sure our teachers understand it. It'll never replace a teacher in the classroom, but there are times that our students are home where they don't have access to a teacher at that time. It'll also help our students who speak other languages or are trying to find more challenging work.
Estaré encantado de ayudarte, por favor.
What's the overall goal?
I think for us, just in having the kids engage in this new technology and sort of spearheading this new initiative and coming up with all of these answers and these innovative strategies is the way to help prepare them for the future.
Although First Avenue Elementary is still in the early stages of this program, the possibilities for changing the way teachers and students experience learning are exciting.
If a student has a question about any historical figure, they can actually have a conversation with the historical figure.
So we're talking about figures like Frederick Douglass, Thomas Edison, you name it.
Anybody that has made a contribution to our society, they can talk to.
All right, DeMarco Morgan, thank you for that. He is part of sitcom royalty. John Stamos rocketed to fame during his time on Full House and has been in the spotlight ever since. Now, the actor and musician is pulling back the curtain on his life, revealing internal battles, even some childhood trauma. Ariane and Ali sat down with Stamos. Here's part of that conversation.
This picture, amazing.
I was 14.
It looks like it was taken yesterday.
Well,
Do you get tired of people talking about how young you look and that you never age?
I just never know what to say. I think I won the genetic lottery or something. And I drink the blood of Rob Lowe and Lori Loughlin.
John Stamos, the eternal heartthrob. Known for his iconic TV roles like Blackie Parrish on General Hospital.
You like dinner or something?
All right. Or Uncle Jesse on Full House.
Have mercy.
Even at times, rocking out with the Beach Boys, like in this PBS special. Has fame been everything you dreamed it would be?
I love it. You want to take a picture? Great. Great. You know, I did want it, and the people that are asking, for pictures and stuff, I owe them. I'm grateful to them.
But behind the smiling selfies, Stamos was fighting an internal battle.
I wasn't going to kill myself, but I remember thinking, well, if I die, it's okay. But I've done everything. I've got a sitcom. I play with the Beach Boys. I could die.
For the first time, John Stamos giving fans unprecedented insight to his life and private struggles in his newly released memoir, If You Would Have Told Me.
First of all, I didn't want to write a book. I didn't think I had a story to tell. As I'm writing, my story started to come to fruition. And then it became human very fast because I realized that without total truth, it's paralysis, really.
The total truth, starting with his infamous drunk driving arrest in 2015.
I had a horrible DUI. I drove drunk, and I could have killed somebody. It was the worst day of my life.
Was that rock bottom for you?
Rock bottom. Everybody's bottom is different, but that was pretty low. One of my dearest friends who writes the foreword there, Jamie Lee Curtis, she said, print out that picture of you in handcuffs and put it on somewhere to look at it every time you maybe want to drink again or just to realize how far I've come since then. And it was hard.
Stamos also opening up about his very public divorce from actress and model Rebecca Romaine in 2005.
I thought we were going to have a family, and that's a fairy tale ending. So for so many years, I blamed her for ruining my life. I realized that I played a big part in our separation, our divorce. It wasn't just her. So to be able to finally sort of let that come out, I think makes me feel okay.
Another topic that you talk about, really a revelation in the book, is about abuse as a child that you suffered at the hands of a babysitter.
Right. I wanted parents, first of all, to know that it's not, it's not some weirdo in a trench coat and glasses driving around the school anymore. It could be an uncle, and a schoolmate, a peer, someone at a church, a babysitter. So I thought, I need to talk about this.
Does that feel therapeutic, or how does that feel?
Since that came out in the news, I've had 10 of my friends, 11 friends exactly, text me and say, oh my God, the same thing happened to me. I haven't been able to talk about it. If one person, got something out of it, then I'm glad I did it.
Sharing the weight of the past, something Stamos says does not come to him naturally.
As you maybe saw in the book, like, I went into being an adult, like, kicking and screaming. I always thought that being an adult was going to be a drag. And I'm here to tell you, it is not. It's so much more fulfilling. And besides, I'm 60, like, I'm not cute anymore to be, you know. But it's hard. It's just hard for me. I like to make jokes. But it's also a way of...
Hiding?
Yeah, a little bit.
Whatever happened to predictability?
It turned out the hardest chapters were writing about Full House.
Why?
I've had such an interesting relationship with it over the last 30 years. I couldn't understand why it was still so popular, why people still want to watch it. I've wrestled with that quite a bit. When I started, I knew how important it was to people. I knew it was silly at times. I knew it was over the top. But when you look at the show, it's a home-cooked meal of love, right? It feels safe. It feels warm. It became everybody's family.
One person, he says, he couldn't hide his true self from. His best friend, actor and comedian Bob Saget, who passed away in January 2022 after sustaining a head injury.
I wish Bob was around. He never left anything on the table. He always said, I love you, care about you, I'm proud of you. One of his many services. If I don't talk about him enough, he'll get mad. We can hear him complaining somewhere.
The pair met on the set of ABC's Full House.
Hey, Jesse, you missed breakfast. Where you been? And I'm sorry.
How long did it take the two of you to form your friendship?
It took a while. Bob and I just didn't get along. We just didn't. We had dramatically different styles of working. And then we just started to see our differences were maybe something that we could learn from, and I did. I loved him. I studied him. I loved comedy, and he was one of the best ever. And then we just started going through life together, divorce, death.
He still remembers the last night they spent together just weeks before his death, out to dinner with their wives.
Bob was everything I ever wanted him to be. He was listened, he was calm, he was interested, and it was one of those, you don't think that it's going to be the last time you see your best friend.
Two of the closest people in Stamos' life were his parents, Loretta and William. His mother passed away in 2014, and his father, William, died in 1998. What would your parents think if they saw you today?
I wish my parents were around to see this. I talk about them a lot. I think they'd be proud. They are.
Handwritten notes from his beloved mother, heartfelt tributes Stamos sprinkled throughout the memoir. Does this book, in some ways, is it in honor of her?
It's in honor of both of my parents. It's a love letter to them.
Now he's getting a second chance at rewriting the story of his love life, too. Stamos is 9 years married to actress Caitlin McHugh. In 2018, he became a first-time father at the age of 54.
You don't look 60.
His son, Billy, now 5, already scene stealing.
Who's calling me? Is it?
Pausing our interview with a FaceTime call to Dad.
What are you watching on TV? Full House? No. Why not? I love you.
Love you to the moon and back. Love you.
I love you too.
What's the best part of being a dad?
Oh, there's so much of it. I didn't think I could love that. Man, the love I have for him is just... He's so funny now. That's one of the things. He's got Saget's sense of humor.
What do you hope when people close this book on the final chapter? What do you hope they feel and think about John Stamos?
I made a lot of mistakes, and I was lucky that I got a second chance and stuff. So I hope maybe, they'll learn from some of my mistakes, maybe try to avoid that. But also just, it was a study in gratitude. I just realized how lucky I've been and how beautiful my life is, no matter what ups and downs. And I'm grateful.
Great conversation. We thank Rhiannon and John for that. Formula One racing is coming to the Vegas Strip this weekend. This will be the first ever Las Vegas Grand Prix. Thursday night's practice run stopped when a driver damaged his car, running over a loose drain cover. Race officials say the course has been secured. Drivers are getting in their final practice laps today, but the female drivers are breaking barriers and speeding past stereotypes, paving the way for women in the sport. ABC's Will Reeve has more from the Vegas Strip.
It's been nearly 50 years since a woman has raced in Formula One, the highest level of motorsports, when Lella Lombardi competed in the Austrian Grand Prix in 1976. But But now this group of women is trying to change that, one very fast lap at a time. They're part of the F1 Academy, an all-women's racing series aimed at developing promising young female drivers. F1 Academy's managing director, Susie Wolf, raced for over 25 years. She wants women to have the chance to show they belong among the world's best.
In motorsport, participation of female drivers in any discipline of the sport has never gone above 5% in the last 25 years. So we need to increase the participation in the lower levels. We need to obviously use the F1 Academy to inspire the next generation.
While representation behind the wheel may lag behind, young women are now the fastest growing fan demographic in Formula One.
We want to take this increased interest in our sport, and we want to show these young women that this sport wants to bring more diversity, wants to give women opportunity.
It's Bianca Bustamante ahead of Jess Edgar.
One of F1 Academy's fresh faces is Bianca Bustamante.
Bustamante crosses the line to take her second win.
The 18-year-old says she loves being a part of a sisterhood of speedsters.
Growing up, I've always raced against boys, and I always would feel sort of alone that I was always the only female, the only girl, and I always felt so left out.
Her pre-race pump-up song, Macklemore's Glorious.
Yes, my mama told me never bow your head.
I feel glorious, glorious. My mama never told me to bow my head, and I think that's really what it's been my whole life in this sport, you know, to never back down from who you're racing against, whether it's a girl or a boy.
28-year-old Jessica Hawkins also has a need for speed.
I believe that 100% we will see women in Formula One day.
Jessica recently became the first woman in 5 years to test drive a Formula One car before an F1 race.
What was going through your mind and your heart as you were making those laps?
My neck was a bit sore afterwards, lots of G-force, but I was just thinking, wow, this is incredible. Everything that I'd ever dreamed it to be.
Speaking of test, I signed my nerves up for one.
Wow. Oh, the braking is real.
This is a really, really tight hairpin. This is my favourite bit of the circuit.
Raven Hawkins making a pass, and they're through. We won again.
What can I say? You enjoy it?
I loved it. That was awesome.
High as the sky, you know I'm fly,
Jessica and these other trailblazers say the more young girls see it, the more they believe it.
You have to see a young woman achieving something to think, maybe I can do that.
In the end, once you have that helmet and your visor down, you're all equal. You're a racing driver. Sky's the limit.
Amazing, Will, thank you. And finally tonight, a reminder to be careful while running in the woods. Take a look at this face-to-face encounter with a mama bear and her two cubs. This was on a narrow hiking trail in Sierra Madre, California. The runner slowly backed away, making loud noises and blowing a whistle, hoping to scare them off. That's textbook, what you're supposed to do. She says the bears eventually took one trail and she took another. We're glad everybody's okay. That's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. Good night.
From America's #1 news comes the all-new ABC News app. Breaking news, incredible video, faster, smarter, and customizable to your interests. If you love being in the know, you're gonna love this. Experience the all-new ABC News app. Download it now.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We've seen tank after tank pouring into this area.
This is where it all began.
Bullet holes all up the wall.
Within minutes, the air raid sirens going off.
You can hear the sound of an explosion.
We are pinned down here.
Tonight, Israel waging a fierce bombardment of Gaza.
The Israel-Hamas war. For non-stop live coverage, stream ABC News Live.
Reporting from southern Israel.
From the front lines
in downtown Ramallah.
In Beirut.
Wherever the story is, we'll take you there.
ABC